The Miami Dolphins Legend Show with Pat Catello. Join us now as we talk Dolphins football, or call in live with your questions or comments. And now, here's your host, Pat Catello.
Joining me now is one of the most legendary icons in sports history. He's the architect of the only perfect season in history, and certainly one of the most respected names in sports. Coach, thanks so much for joining me.
Yeah, happy to be on the Pat Catello Show.
Coach, 40 years since the 1972 perfect season. It's a milestone that has not been touched, and it must be something special. What's the best part of these milestones?
You know, the reunions that we have, to be able to get together and enjoy each other's company and reminisce a little bit and talk about some of our great moments and some not so great moments. But it's just fun to see the guys each and every year.
Been able to talk to most of your old teammates, and the respect that they have for you is just immeasurable. Is that something that you took on very early in your career, that you decided how you were going to coach players or player yourself? What made you determine exactly what your method would be?
You know, I played for 7 years and played for 3 teams, the Browns and the Colts and the Redskins, and I knew how I wanted to be treated as a player. And you know, I want to be treated with respect and yet let them be demanding and trying to get the most out of my ability. So that's the way I tried to, when I got into coaching, the way I tried to treat the players that I was responsible for, the way that I wanted to be treated when I was a player. And that's helped me a lot because, you know, these players put a lot on the line for you. And you want to show them that you appreciate it, and you want to be able to coach them and get the most out of their ability.
Now, when you came into the 72 season, you had just lost to the Dallas Cowboys in Super Bowl VI. From what everybody says, that was the motivating factor.
Yeah, we said after that game that we didn't want to feel that way again because you get to the big game and, you know, both teams are treated the same. But when the game's over, they only go to one locker room where they're happy and pouring the champagne and celebrating. The losing coach gets a token interview outside the dressing room, and the players go home. So we didn't want to be the team that went home. We wanted to be the team that stayed and enjoyed it and celebrated and just finished the season the way that I felt that we should finish it.
Now, the cliche is always one game at a time, but if you think back, I mean, what you were able to do, it kind of created the cliche, because I think that's the way you took it, right? One day at a time?
Well, you have to, because, you know, you start thinking 2 games ahead of time, and you're not ready to play the game that you're going to be playing. And you can't ever let that happen when you're the coach responsible for motivating players and getting them ready to play each and every week.
And then I guess you look back and you go into a Super Bowl undefeated. I guess that adds more pressure to trying to win your first championship.
Yeah, it really does, because, you know, no team had ever done it 50 years before we did it. No team's done it since, and you can tell one team doing it how hard it is to do.
It is. Certain teams have given runs, but nobody has touched perfection. I guess that makes this even a more special accomplishment.
It really does when you think about all of the good teams that there are in the National Football League year in and year out, and yet realizing that you're the only team that's ever, you know, run the table, go undefeated.
Now, you've had a long career that's lasted through 4 decades. You were able to change your style, adapt. Dan Marino came in. You've went to other Super Bowls. When you look back at it, is that something that you had to work on doing, or it just came naturally?
Well, I think you got to work on it, but it's something that you got to make sure happens, because you can't stay the same. You got to be able to continue to adapt and be ready to changes, and you know, you don't want to be surprised by anything that you encounter. So we always try to envision, you know, in all situations, and prepare for, you know, whatever happens, and not go into a game and have something happen that you didn't prepare for.
Now, obviously, everybody knows your success as a football coach, and it is immeasurable. I think you're the greatest coach of all time. But one thing that not a lot of people touch on is Don Shula, the man. And I think that you've set a moral compass that is certainly one that a lot of people, including myself, have always looked up to. We kind of miss you. You're not in the NFL anymore. You're retired from that, and I don't know that anybody's picked that up. But is that something that you held as in high regard as your football coaching? Because you certainly, set a standard for that.
Well, you always wanted to, when you're in a position like that where you can influence so many people by the example that you give, you want to make sure that you're giving off good examples and doing things the right way so that if people are looking to be influenced one way or the other, you want to make sure that you're doing the right thing.
Well, you certainly did do the right thing, and I'll tell you, like I said, you were always a role model to me and somebody that I can hold in high regard, and I can't thank you enough for taking a few moments to join me tonight.
Jordan, good to be with you.
Hey, this is Dan Marino.
Hi, this is Larry Zonka.
Hi, I'm Zach Thomas of the Miami Dolphins.
This is Mark Super Duper.
I'm John Offerdahl.
This is Paul Warfield.
Hi, this is Nick Bonacani. This is Jake Scott.
Gary Premian.
Dick Anderson.
Larry Little.
Mercury Morris.
Tom Vigorito.
This is Don Strock.
Don Nottingham.
Hey, this is AJ Duay. This is Mark Ingram.
And Jim Crash Jensen.
This is